Um, what we would do, or our target was, that we will become totally HD. We would not deal with SD formats except as legacy. We would go to AMWA because we really liked what they had done on ASO2, ASO3, and we thought they were the foundation of what we could work with. AMWA standards are really good at putting other standards together into a delivery chain, which everybody can understand. We had a DPP standard was going to be a subset of AS11. In other words, AS11 wasn't designed to be UK unique.
Andy, maybe you could recap in 30 seconds what those AS are about. And
okay,
for
those
people
of you,
who are not familiar.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know the AMWA standards, I would suggest you look at their site, but ASO2 and ASO3 were developed for the US markets. ASO3 is a standard I believe was first done by PBS in the US, and it's about a format for delivering a file-based program. It just tells you how to do a subset of MXF. So really, if you think of MXF as a vast telephone directory size set of instructions, ASO3 limits it to page 1, page 90, page 3060, and that's it. That's all you'll have. But it was SD. It limited audio, and we thought actually what we wanted to do was just take off the limits. We couldn't do that to ASO3 because it would meant opening the standard and putting things into it, but we believed ASO3 was coming to the end of its life in terms of a usable standard. So AS11, it just happened to be the next number. Nothing sinister about Y11, it was just the next number in their standards chain. And if you look at their standards, you can see there's a lot of overlap between them, but we wanted one for exchange of programs, completed programs, and international sale of completed programs. We also wanted a standard that was going to last about 5 years before anybody needed to open it up again. We think that unless a standard has a relatively long life, and in file form 5 years is a very long life, we thought that it wouldn't be enough time for the industry to establish workflows and to establish tool sets that were going to help support the program makers. They just wouldn't be interested in doing it if we were going to change it every 2 or 3 months. The codec should be rugged enough, and this is really important. We are an exporter of programs in the UK. A lot of programs go out, a lot of programs come in, and we wanted to make sure that the codec was rugged enough. It might be difficult, but rugged enough to give us the quality we needed for that. And the metadata should be no more than's needed to identify that file and to play that file. Literally the equivalent of the paperwork that will go in the tape. That's the standard. It's a vendor-neutral subset of MXF. That's a very simpty statement. It's based on and includes the functionality of ASO3. So everything that's in ASO3 has been transferred into AS11, and it's just been expanded. We've added AVCI, D10, ASO3 audio, so unlimited numbers of audio.
So, Andy, just again to recap for people who may not be too familiar. So there's one HD format and one SD format.
There is, yep. Yeah. No, you can have more, but that's down to the shims.
Okay.
So within the standard, you are allowed to put in various codecs because it makes it more useful. You're also allowed to put unlimited audio tracks. Based on the AES3 audio system. So you are allowed to put in a lot more than we would ever need, but we needed to make it flexible. So in other words, we took ASO3 and then we expanded it. We also added program segmentation. Because it was built by PBS, it had a very different structure to the commercial broadcasters' requirements. So it allows us to soft and hard part programs. And the BBC accepted that. We don't part our programs, we have no commercials, but we accept the fact that others do, and it's good to have a single standard. So in theory, we could put commercials into our programs, or we can take commercials out of programs made by other companies to be transmitted on the BBC. This is the important line. It allows the inclusion of shim-specific metadata in MXF. It allows us to make another subset that's based on a specific requirement. So SD, HD, that's the only two shims we have. We will be expanding those later for other reasons, but they'll be clear because we are talking about delivery of programs to us at the moment. If we start talking about exchange of programs between us, we may have to put another shim in called the exchange shim or the sales shim. But what it says is, what am I going to do with this program and why do I need to have the shim? And that cuts out all the rest of the metadata that you need to look at and allows you to have a very simple input tool.
So again, maybe an analogy we could take is it's like an ID card d'identité in French.
I think the analogy that's very simple, it's like an SR tape versus a digibeta tape. The format itself, the little holes in the bottom of the tape say what standard it is, and that's what a shim is. It tells what standard it is and what's to be done with that standard.
Okay.